Hello there, unfortunate audience. My name is Sr388, and this is my review of AM2R. So I recently finished AM2R, and I wanted to make a review to reflect on what I've experienced playing AM2R. So without further ado, let's begin. So let's start with the basics, the story. The story goes as such. The Galactic Federation is concerned with the recent discovery of the deadly Metroids. So, to prevent the use of Metroids, they send out multiple teams to dispose of them. But after multiple disappearances, they send Samus Aran to discover what happened to the missing personnel, and to finish the job they couldn't. So Samus goes to Sr388 and destroys an entire species, and discovers what lies within Sr388. And from then on, the story sort of goes on hiatus until the near end of the game, so spoiler alert, I guess. After exploring the deepest depths of Sr388, Samus discovers the original Metroids roaming about. But how are there more Metroids? What could possibly be creating more of these monstrosities? Well, Samus finds out. What the fuck is that? The Metroid Queen is responsible for that. And guess what? She's not happy about Samus murdering her children. And so Samus fights and kills the Metroid Queen. And once all said and done, Samus plans to leave, but stumbles upon a Metroid child who thinks Samus is her mother. How cute! So Samus takes the Metroid child, but before she can leave, she finds out that the Chozos, a supposedly peaceful race, created Metroids on purpose for a very important reason, which is to be revealed in Metroid Fusion. And so, the last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace. Thus, ending the story. With the story out of the way, how does the game play? After all, the entire point of a game is to play the game. And to you Metroid fans, I have great news for you, because this game controls beautifully. The jumping, shooting, running, and morph ball all feel fantastic to control. I never had any problems while controlling Samus when using the D-pad. But playing this game on an analog stick can be an absolute nightmare. And if you watched my playthrough of AM2R, you know what I'm talking about. Samus decides to curl and uncurl at annoyingly frequent rates. But even that isn't enough to make me say that this game controls terribly, as eventually, and I say eventually, you can get used to the analog controls. Some may wonder why I complain about the analog controls, if I said earlier that, quote, I never had problems while controlling Samus using the D-pad. And I say, 1, stop quoting me, Jim, and 2, I switched from using an Xbox controller to a PS4 controller, and for some reason, the D-pad wasn't working, only the analog stick. And for the sake of preventing an overly long rant,
yes, you can download a program to correct the issue, but I am reviewing the game the way it was originally made without using outside programs. Well, the 1.4.3 version at least.
Anyways, with that out of the way, let's talk about upgrades. Metroid games have always handled upgrades relatively well, with weapon upgrades representing how much you progress by allowing you to destroy or outright ignore previously annoying enemies. And AM2R does this well. And for whatever reason, AM2R also allows you to outright disable everything. A nice detail, but honestly one I almost immediately forgot about. But what good are weapons without enemy? Well, worry not, as the enemies are handled extremely well as well. That is 3 wells. Whenever you enter a new area, you get to meet some new enemies. And it's kinda nice to see the different types of creatures that live on Sr388, whether that be in the Chozo Temple or in the deepest depths of the tower. Anyways, though enemies are nice, what about the boss fight? Hey, shut the fuck up. The boss fights are really good. And, with the exception of Metroids, are all unique. From a robot that detects if you steal shite, to the first ever creature to ever have existed on Sr388. The boss fights are mostly easy, with a few that might give you a hard time. But the important thing is that all the boss fights are fun, and in the end of the day, being fun is what's most important for any game. And this one is. Gameplay is important and graphics aren't everything, but if both aspects are good, it greatly enhances the game. So how does the game look? This game is absolutely beautiful, with the backgrounds being jaw-dropping and the in-game sprites being very pleasant to look at. This game is gorgeous. Every time I entered a new area, I was excited to see what it would look like, and I counted so many times when I was at a loss for words. Again, if you've ever watched my Let's Play, it is very obvious that I love how this game looks. Besides that though, I can't say much other than at least every area looks different and unique and beautiful and great and... There are many areas in Sr388. This includes
The Golden Temple, Hydro Station, Industrial Complex, GFS Staff, Mining Facility, the Tower, Distribution Center, the Nest,
and Genetics Laboratory. Now for my opinions on each area. The Golden Temple was nice, but nothing special since, you know, it's the first area of the game. The Hydro Station was cool, but had a few confusing areas that caused me to miss out on the wave beam until the near end of the game, so yeah, go fuck yourself. The Industrial Complex was awesome, but I sort of felt bored by it. I mean, you can control a robot for a bit. Yeah, the GFS thought was awesome. It was really cool seeing the Galactic Federation, even if they're dead. Not to mention the logs you can find and read here really sell the depressing atmosphere. The mining facility. I hate this area. It has one cool log that you can read, but other than that, this area just feels like an excuse to have you fight like 3 more Metroids. The tower. This area is really cool as it has you scale up and down this massive tower, and then when you finally reach the bottom, you destroy the power cell and blow up the fucking tower. It is awesome. The distribution center. Yep, I hate this area. Other than the fucking pointless speed booster room, this area just felt underwhelming, especially since it comes after the tower. And honestly, it's a complete mystery why this area seems underwhelming, since you get two new upgrades, and they're the best upgrades in the fucking game! Not to mention the boss fight, which despite it being a reference to Metroid Fusion, is bafflingly easy. And the fact that the area just seems to end abruptly. The Nest. It's cool to see an area where only the strongest of creatures can survive, but this small area is not very wowing, to be honest. The Genetics Laboratory. Despite the fact that the save point in this area is the fucking worst, this area is great. You get to fight the original Metroid, which, while extremely easy, are a nice surprise. This is also an area where you fight the Metroid Queen, which, once you learn her fight pattern, is really easy. Now, are all these areas outstanding? No, but at least they all look cool. Good looks, great gameplay, and awesome areas are always a huge plus. But what about the music? Oh boy, do I have something to tell you. Are you gonna say it's good? It is amazing. The version of AM2R I have comes with the entire soundtrack. So let's go through a few of my favorite songs. I don't care what anybody says, these songs are good. Whether it's ambient or iconic, the soundtrack in this game is incredible. As always, Metroid music is good music. Most of the time. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind ambience, but fuck me, I just want to listen to the goddamn songs! 99% of this game is just ambience, and that always makes me sad, because it's a shame that most of the time all you hear is... Long story short, I like the soundtrack most of the time. So in the end, what should I say about this game? Well, it's great. Every flaw I've pointed out is either personal and or very minute. And to quote the great Some Call Me Johnny, would I recommend this game to the average Joe? One who's never heard of a Metroid? Well, yeah. Although I would also recommend you play the other Metroid games as well, since I think this game caters more towards the Metroid fans. There is so much fan service in this game, from the Metroid Fusion references to Metroid Prime 3 ones. Don't get me wrong, you can enjoy this game just fine without prior experience, but you also get so much more if you play the other games as well. And when I say that, I don't mean you have to play the games in a certain order or anything like that. More like, if you enjoy this game, it might be worth it to play the other ones. And so, with that note, I now end this review. And hey, for my first review ever, it was really fun. I really do enjoy looking back and thinking critically for once. And although this review may end, I'll always be able to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!